1:30 in the morning. You might be asking yourself, why is he awake? Well, it turns out that international campsites are just as rowdy as domestic ones. I left the camp because even at 1:30, there are still kids running around screaming and adults talking at full volume. So I thought, after a long day, what better than to go back out on another hike and try to shoot some video. But I mean, it's absolutely beautiful out here. This is 1:30 at night. And I mean, you can see the sunlight behind me. Again, 1:30 a.m. I'm gonna head back to camp, and once I start to feel sleepy, I'll climb back in my sleeping bag and go to bed. Supposedly tomorrow it's supposed to rain, and if it rains, I wanna get as much video as I can. I rode 5 miles down to where the road splits and where I needed to make my turn. And the wind was so bad I couldn't go any further. I literally could not go any further. The wind blew me to a standstill. Now, what I'm going to do is loop up around towards the highest peak on the Faroes, where I was yesterday. I'm going to come up that way and drop down the other side of these mountains. I talked to one local and she said that this channel is known for wind. So I'm hoping if I can somehow get over to the other side, I won't have as strong a winds. I don't mind a little wind. I just can't handle wind that brings me to a complete stop. When the wind gusts and stops me, I'm just going to get off and walk. Like an hour and a half or longer to walk up this hill in that wind. But the weather appears to be improving, so I hope that trend continues. Good times had by all who weren't here with me on the road, walking their bikes uphill. I'm about to go through another sea tunnel, and what I'm going to do is take this sea tunnel to cross this water behind me, which is actually kind of a terrifying thought when you look at it. Think of all that water up there, not to speak of the carbon dioxide and the stuff in the tunnel with me, including fast cars with distracted drivers. Above me. I try not to think about it. And I don't have to think about it. I'm being distracted by all these wonderful colors. Wow, it really helps me forget that I'm in a tunnel. While they're fun to go down into because they're decline, getting out requires a long, steady climb in the dark, dank tunnel. When cars pass, it's absolutely horrible. But when semis pass in the subsea tunnels, it's absolutely terrifying. Whew. Eat it, tunnel. Today was a slog. I mean, it started off with rain and hurricane force winds. And when I left camp, it wasn't that bad. But the minute I got up on the road, it was hard going. And the wind was the worst part. I think the panniers must have a lot more surface area, so the wind resistance would bring me to a stop when I was going up hills. I actually had to walk my bike up hills. I rode 5 miles, and then the wind got so bad I turned around and came all the way back towards camp. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to camp here. I don't want to spend 2 nights here. So I tried to go around the tallest peak on the Faroes, and then I dropped down, and on the other side of the mountains, the wind was just as bad. But I had no choice, so I just kept going. And whenever it was steep and windy, I had to walk my bike. And after hours and hours of just wind and rain, I finally got here and to Klaksvic, or whatever it's called, and the weather subsided. It actually turned nice. So I'm gonna put up camp, hopefully get some good night's sleep. I'm out here doing what I've been wanting to do since I got here, which is just go up a mountain. No trail, nothing, just go straight up it, see where it leads. And so I haven't been disappointed, other than on the Faroe Islands. If you decide to go off the footpath, just know there are birds that will attack you. And they will swoop within like a foot of your head. They freak me out. That's actually one of the biggest downsides, are all of these dive bombing birds who want you away from their nest. So they just swoop down, put their feet out like they're gonna kick your head. It makes for an experience, more exciting hike when you have birds dive bombing you. Anyway, today was a weird day. I went to this lighthouse that's famous. I actually didn't even think the lighthouse was that great. What I liked mostly was the scenery around the lighthouse. Also kind of weird, I saw these girls, these 2 Norwegian girls, when I very first got here, the very first night, and then I saw them again here, and if it wasn't for them, I may not have gotten to the lighthouse, because they were able to get a ride from some guy who let us ride in the back of his truck to the lighthouse. And it was a very strange experience for about a million reasons. So I went to the lighthouse, fought with birds, saw the lighthouse, came back to my campsite. This is my 2nd night here. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna stay here. Might as well go up this mountain behind the campground. So I'm headed up this mountain. I'm almost to the peak. 4th day of the Faroe Islands. It's Monday, and I'm a bit worn out because I've been doing nothing but biking and hiking every minute of the day. So onward and upwards.